Okay, so today's lesson is about the way that the narc copes with stress and fear, and how it is incorrect and flawed, and then a little bit about what the correct way of coping with stress and fear can be. So, um, basically, narcs have an attitude. It's one of the most confusing things about them is that they sort of have an attitude like, okay, let's just party. They're very imprecise and sloppy, um, and they want you to be that way too. And it's like the teenage mischief mode. Let's break the rules. Let's live outside of the norms. And you're like, oh, this is cool. I like this. I dig this. This is very bohemian, right? And then all of a sudden, you get the dark side. You get the Stalin side of them. And they go into full freak out mode, panic mode, and they get very angry. And this is what can frequently trigger episodes that are traumatic, is the anger that comes from the fear of that they have of losing control of the situation, or the fear that they have of facing unresolved demons within themselves. So this is why this technique of theirs doesn't work, because essentially you're oscillating from heaven to hell, from heaven to hell, from heaven to hell, and it's just very exhausting. Um, an alternative to this method is to allow yourself, like I said, through meditation, to basically live in a daily state of letting go of attachments. And then also adopting the idea and the concept of being conscious and cognizant of fear while also choosing to go forward in spite of it. And this is different from, what they do than what the narcs do, where they just sort of are oblivious. They pretend to ignore all the problems. They drown their problems in alcohol or drugs. And then when the shit hits the fan, they just sort of go into Stalin mode and they try to get all the control back through anger, very traumatizing for everyone around them. And then they go back to Mr. Carefree or Mrs. Carefree, fun-loving life. Like, why won't you have fun? Loosen up. Uh, why so serious? Why so serious? Like the Joker. Why so serious? It's insanity and it's mental illness. But this is what they think is the way to live. But rather than doing it all this way, it's better for us to face the emotional extremes and try to level them out and live in a more and be detached and live in a more balanced, emotionally serene place from moment to moment, and achieving our daily processing of our inner demons and detaching from our attachments through regular meditation. The best way is probably right before bed and then right when you wake up in the morning for a little bit. And then just, doing what survivors of panic anxiety disorder do, which is just being aware of the fear and the anxiety and the fear of what could go wrong and the fear of losing control, and just kind of choosing to go forward in spite of it, instead of doing what the narcs do, where they try to sort of hide from it and pretend it's not real until everything goes wrong and then they freak out. This is very much like an unbalanced and a sloppy way of dealing with things, and it doesn't really work. So that's my opinion of the way that the narc copes with stress, why it doesn't work, and then what an alternative to coping with stress, an alternative way of coping with stress to that method could be, that I believe would be much healthier if it could be adopted.